Okay, here we are. So this is the master quiz, which is going to be the quiz from Daf Beis all the way to today's Daf Lamed Zayin. It's a great chance just to see how well we're doing and see whether they can find all the different sugyas we covered over these last, 36 Daf all the way through Daf Lamed Zayin. Okay, so here goes. Where do we have the mice of the chassid in the basic kavaros, where you hear the two spirits? What Daf was that on? That was on Daf Yud Ches, right? The chuppah. Yud Ches is a chuppah, Ben Shemona Esrei chuppah. And that was placed in the basic kavaros. Good. Where do we have the sugya of whether you go after the ikr part of the bracha or the chasim of a bracha, where we had the sugya of comparing when someone was making a bracha on wine or beer and made a mistake? What daf was that on? That was on daf Yud Beis. Yud Beis was a dozen eggs, and one of the carton eggs there was a wine and a little piece, bottle of beer. Good. Where do we have the sugya of being mapsig beina bamsa the prakim of Shema or beina prakim, whether you can, who you can be mapsig for, als covet or yira? Where was that? That was on daf Yimedalad. Yidalad is the bar mitzvah bacher waving to his Rebbe with a big hand. Hey Rebbe, while he's leading the davening and he's in the middle of the Shema. Good. Where do we have the Mishnah and all the sugya dealing with what women are putter from, the mitzvahs women are putter from, Gabi Shema, Tefillah, Berachos Hamazon, and so on, Tefillin. That was on Daf Chaf. Right? Chaf is a spoon, and we had that Rebbe chasing after a woman in the red dress, but then she was yelling, Nashim B'turos, that's Daf Chaf. Good. Where do we have the sugya that dealt with why we make why there's 7 brachas in the Shemona Esrei of Shabbos and 9 in Rosh Hashanah and 24 by Tainus? That is on Daf Chaf Tes. Chaf Tes was a cat, and the cats were running into a minyan. All these kittens and cats running in, and each one had different numbers on them, 7, 9, 24. Good. Where do we have the sugya dealing with why the Chachamim hold until Chatzos by Kriya Shema? That was on Daf Dalad. Daf Dalad. Good. Where do we have the topic of mazikim? All the, how many mazikim are, how we're surrounded by them, pushing us, things that happen, why our clothes wear out, or the Talmud their clothes wear out. That is on Daf Vav. Vav is a stick, and they're beating off the mazikim with the sticks. Good. Where did we have the topic, the sugi dealing with when you say Shema and you're in the bed with some next to someone, can you say Shema? And where was that? That was on Daf Chav Daled. Chav Daled is a clock. We imagine that big clock placed between two beds. Great. Where do we have the Maisa Bruria and Reb Meir dealing with the neighbors next door? Where was that? That was on Daf Yud. Yud is a tent, right? Outside their tents, they're discussing this, and the neighbors next door in their tent. Good. Where do we have the sugya of the whole Maisa, where Rabban Gamliel steps down, and then we learn about Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah stepping up, and as a result, the Beis Midrash doors were opened, and we have the result of it. Maseches Eidos comes out of that day. That was on Daf Chaf Ches. Chaf Ches was a construction crew blasting through the doors of the Beis Midrash. Great. Where do we have the idea of Shnai Mikra, the Echad Targum? Where was that brought down? That was on Daf Ches. Ches is a menorah, and we had all these menorahs around the chuppah when you had this woman, young girl marrying a guy who's carrying his chumash because he learned Shnai Mikra Echad Targum, the chassan, under the chuppah, holding his chumash and the Shulchan Aruch on the other side, because he's also, that's where Kosh Baruch Hu is amidst the Adal Amas of Halacha. Good. Okay, a couple more. Where do we have the sugya where if someone makes mistakes during davening, while they're davening from the Amud, that they need to be replaced, and the other person shouldn't be Masarev? Where was that? That's on Daf Lamed Daled. Lamed Daled is a lead pencil. The guy's leaning down because this huge, massive lead pencil strapped to his back keeps making mistakes, so he gets replaced. Good. And 2 more. Okay, where do we have the sugya of what David Melch does during the night? What's his Seder Halayla? Waking up at Chatzos and so on. That was on Daf Gimel. Gimel is a Gamal, is a camel, and that camel in the guard's clothes, because the Shmoros, is also holding a harp. Good. And one more. Where do we have Oh, okay. Where do we have the issue of relieving oneself before davening, and also the sugya of tefillin and a basic kisei? Where was that? That's on Daf Chav Gimel. Chav Gimel is a keg, and person running out shul to go to the outhouse, and there's a little keg out there for people to tefillin on. Great. Okay, there's a lot more, but that's a great chance to do like a spot review, a spot check, and next week we're gonna have more dapim to do chazor on. So thanks for joining our very first Master Jumbo quiz on Daf Lamed from Daf Beis all the way to Daf Lamed Zion. Have a great Shabbos.